So a couple days ago marked the 1 year anniversary of the day that I got my private pilot's license, and I can hardly believe it. I guess you can say time has really flown by. So anyway, in that year, I've flown 33.6 hours, which is about 2.8 hours a month. Which is more or less what I budgeted for. While it would have been awesome to get to fly more than that, I still got to do a lot of things that I really enjoyed. I got to fly around a lot of friends, I got to fly to San Diego a couple of times. One of my favorite flights is when I flew back to my hometown and I gave each of my brothers and sisters rides. I'll go ahead and put a link to that video at the end of this. And then there's also getting checked out in the RV-12, which I'm working on a video on that as well. So overall, it's just been a really fun year. But since this is cheapskate aviation, let's talk about how much it all cost. So this is a really important question and one that I was really concerned about before I started my training. Because no matter how much it costs to earn a private pilot's license, like if it's too much, you just need to save up a little longer. But the recurring cost of staying proficient for the rest of your life is not something that you can really save up for. You have to be able to put in a certain amount a month. So I'm going to break down what it cost me to be a pilot for 1 year. So my first expense is club dues. I'm a member of a flying club where I have to pay $150 every month just to be in the club. So if you remember my video about how much it cost to get my private pilot certificate, you may recall that I was paying $250 a month to be in the club. That's because my club has a multi-tier membership structure where you can either pay more per month and less per hour, or less per month and more per hour. So when I was flying a couple times a week to do my flight training, it made sense to pay a higher amount per month and less per hour. But now that I already have my certificate and I can't really fly as much as I once did, it makes more sense to pay a little less per month and more per hour. $150 times 12 months is $1,800. My next expense is gas. I paid $835.58. And the largest expense was the hourly rate I paid to fly these airplanes, which was $2,057.50. In addition, I flew 7.7 hours with CFIs in order to get checked out in the club's RV-12. That cost me $385. So the grand total for what it cost me to be a private pilot for a year was $5,078.08. So that comes out to $423.17 per month, or $151.13 per hour of flying. Now that's actually not too bad compared to what it costs to rent comparable planes in a lot of places. And to be fair, if we wanted to compare my club rates to a rental rate, we should probably take the CFI expense out of it. So when you don't include what I paid for CFIs, I paid $139.68 per hour, which is actually pretty good. You can't really get a rental around here for cheaper than that. While obviously I'd love to be able to fly more and spend less, this is actually about what I budgeted for. It's actually a little bit less than I budgeted for, and I'm pretty happy with it. As I've reached this anniversary, I've also done a little bit of reflecting on the last year. Many people say that you have a certain idea of what sort of missions you'll be interested in when you start flying, and then actually after you are flying for a while, you realize it's not exactly what you expected. I went into my private pilot training thinking that I mostly just want to fly around. I'm not as interested in using it to go on trips or to fly long distances. I just want to fly around the pattern. Now that I've been flying for a year, I'm even more sure of that. My initial mission has been cemented. Not that I don't ever like to fly to another place, but I just like to fly. And to me, flying to a location is just a lot of going in a straight line, and I feel like I get more fun per dollar just flying around the local area, doing touch and goes, doing stalls, that sort of thing. Perhaps years from now I'll get bored of just doing pattern work and I'll want to explore more airports, but for right now, I just love flying to fly. Also, before I got my certificate, I thought maybe every once in a while I'll want to take my family on a trip. But after flying my kids around on just some short trips, that sounds a lot less appealing to me.
Hey guys, just relax. Hey, stop fighting. What is going on, guys?
Perhaps when they're a little bit older, that'll that'll be a fun thing to do, but right now, they don't really enjoy it. I don't really enjoy it. Maybe someday that'll change. But my biggest takeaway as I reflect on this last year, I was thinking back on a thought I had when I was wrapping up my private pilot training. I thought that while I was excited to get my certificate, I was worried that I would just miss the training so much because I knew that I wasn't going to keep flying twice a week anymore. It was going to be more like twice a month. And I knew that after I finished my training, I would perhaps feel like I'd rather just be a student again and go back to those days when I could fly all the time. And while I do look back fondly on my training time, and I think I always will, I'd rather be a pilot than a student. Even if I used to be able to fly like 4 hours a week and now I'm flying like 2 or 3 hours a month, sometimes some months I don't even get to fly, I just still love being a pilot. And maybe I only get to fly 33.6 hours a year, but I get to be a pilot 8,760 hours a year, and I love every one of them.